Right in the middle of whatever you're doing. And it's not anybody I know, otherwise I would recognize it. Yeah.
Was it Houston?
What's that?
Was it a call from Houston?
I don't think so.
Houston?
What?
You don't get it? Houston, we have a problem?
Ah,
Oh, my sides.
silent laughter. All right, all right. I'll go with that one. Oh, there we
Oh, that
go. Okay.
sun's bright there.
Ooh, sun. And my glasses are all smudged up. So yeah, so this is our first. Uh, you came up with this name, so I'm giving you credit for our name is officially the Swamp Gas Files.
The swamp ass.
Swamp Gas. Yeah, which is a great name. And there actually is swamp gas. Yeah, so we've deemed this our channel Swamp Gas Files, and swamp gas for actually it wasn't J. Allen Hynek from Project Blue Book that coined that phrase, but he used that was like one of the more memorable times when they used the swamp gas terminology. And I'll put the link. I'm collecting the links in and I'll put them in the file below in the comment, or not in the comments, but where we talk about the video, and I'll put them down there so you can watch it, because it is a fascinating thing. And what's so interesting about that incident was Project Blue Book was the government's study of UFOs, and so their conclusion was there's no proof, there's no evidence, there's no nothing. You got nothing. There's nothing out there. It's all swamp gas. It's all misidentification. But there's an incident in this video where J. Allen Hynek, one of the professors, he was a professor of astronomy, and he was giving a news conference about this huge sighting in Michigan, and you can tell that he's uncomfortable with the explanation he's giving, because he says it was probably just swamp gas, but this was viewed by, and if you've ever seen a video of swamp gas, it's a little bit of fire.
Lights, like
it's swamp gas
and aliens floating around.
It doesn't look anything like a metal. It looks like some fire on top of some water. So it's kind of cool, because it's methane is produced by organic matter rotting in swamps, and so it just
also
floats up to the surface, and if there's any spark, it'll burn. And you can,
right. And so if you're called a swamp ass, that is kind of along the same line.
Well, that's that swamp gas coming out of your swamp ass. Yeah, something like that.
Because
anyway,
there
that's too scientific for me.
Yeah, there have been reports that I, at some times, have been accused of being a swamp ass.
Okay, I just spinning my coffee around. I just spilled it all over myself. Anyway, listen. Here's the thing. That is totally possible. I'm sure you've been accused. I'm sure you've been called worse at times. Right? Right?
I'm not going to go. I'm not going to. That's still under investigation.
We're not going to go there. But yeah. So anyway, the swamp gas files kind of wink and a nod back to Project Blue Book when J. Allen Hynek referred to that. And then what's so amazing about that whole incident? So after that, I don't know how long after that, within a year, J. Allen Hynek bailed on the whole Project Blue Book and turned around and became a UFO researcher, which is really fascinating. So he kind of went 180, 360 back, right? He believes in swamp gas now, and he's in the big. He went to that big swamp in the sky. Yeah. So anyway, he ended up becoming a UFO researcher and ended up changing his whole story after that awkward incident. But Gerald Ford, President Gerald Ford, he was a senator at that point in his career, and he was kind of involved with that thing. And he even complained, like, "Come on, you guys, you can't. 150 people from different locations don't see swamp gas flying around the sky looking like a UFO."
I mean,
so even
the radius was like 60 miles, right? I mean, it was like a 60-mile, because I looked at the article, and
did
Manor Farm was in one county, and there were reports of like 100 people in another county 60 miles away at around the approximate same time saw similar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would have been a big time swamp gas episode.
Major swamp gas incident. Yeah. So it's an amazing, actually, that whole, well, they have old newsreels in that channel, Eyes on Cinema, which I think if anybody watches this and you're interested in this subject, you got to become subscribed to Eyes on Cinema. And it's not a couple of guys or talking heads like that. It's just old archival footage of UFO incidents, all kinds of stuff. They've got stuff about actors and popular, movies and there's all kinds of stuff on there. But they do have a lot of UFO information on there too. So there's all kinds of information on there. It's not just a UFO channel. It's called Eyes on Cinema, and it's just archival footage. I think it's open domain kind of stuff that you can watch, and it's just great. It's just a great channel, especially if you're interested in the UFO thing. Yeah, so many really fascinating. And there's a one I couldn't find that I wanted to find about these two brothers town in West Virginia in the late 60s. But I don't want to do that one without kind of rewatching the video and getting better details on it. But the one I did want to talk about today was this guy called what's his name here? I'll tell you what his name, Woodrow Derenberger. And Woodrow Derenberger was a salesman. He was driving, I think it was somewhere in the South. He was driving driving home, and it was not even that late at night. I don't think it wasn't even nighttime. It was like dusk or something. And he noticed a couple of cars pass him, and he wasn't, that's kind of pretty common. He was driving this little van, and he notices another car, what looks like a car or a truck, goes by him, and then it goes ahead of him and then spins sideways and drops down in the middle of the road and blocks the road. So he has to veer off the road to avoid this thing. So he does, and he kind of goes up an embankment, and he's sitting there, he's rattled, and this door on this ship opens up. You have to watch it. It's a little long. It's about 45, might even be an hour. Yeah. It's quite a long.
But it's just him telling the story, I'm assuming, or is it?
Yeah, it's just him telling the story. Yeah, well, it's a half hour. It's a half-hour video, but it's just fascinating because this guy, I've never heard of him. He just had this thing happen. Then he just doesn't write a book, doesn't go on TV, doesn't try to do the talk show. So he didn't have anything to gain other than it's possible that people would lie about something like that. But it's so outlandish and out there and wild.
Yeah. And that's usually the accusation is, oh, he just wants attention, that kind of stuff, which is, after being at the top for 10 years. Yeah, people do go that route and make false claims, but it's just a matter of doing the investigation. And it's really difficult doing an investigation on something like that because it was there, then it's gone. It's like a dream or a vision. How do you prove someone had a vision or a dream? It happened in their head. It may not happen on the ground. But I think the swamp
even
gas,
if there's eyewitness a lot of times, it doesn't matter. Swamp gas.
That's why swamp gas thing. I mean, there was hundreds of people. I mean, 100 people saw something similar, how would the Manners, that name of the family that initially reported, how would they get all these people involved in a short period of time to say, yeah, let's all say there was some sort of flying uh, spaceship, and even the sheriff was saying yes, he believed his patrolman did see something unusual. Yeah, so to me, that is more, obviously believable because it's many people seeing something very similar in the same time frame, and it kind of goes back to what we're experiencing today, as far as this Hynek guy comes out, and it's pretty obvious he lied. He didn't really. Is that my dog or is that a space alien?
The aliens
Maybe
off your doorstep.
space alien. Maybe he's seen it.
Somebody's gotta watch your
He's
back.
trained to attack space alien.
Wow. He's gone.
Oh boy, that's embarrassing. But anyway, my point is, it's the lies the government has been telling that gets them in these situations where then they've got to make up there's like, how do we get out of this? Why not just be transparent and say, you know what, these people saw this spacecraft, maybe it was a spacecraft. Until they can prove differently. It's called empirical evidence. Can he prove that swamp gas would cause that effect? No, he never even tried to prove that. He just, you know what I'm saying? It's the investigation that need to be done to verify. And I think we're seeing a lot more of that in today's world. Everyone's got a phone that records things, and so there's security cameras everywhere. So getting to the truth is a lot easier now than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago.
I wish that were true. I kind of believe you, but I think now with AI, people say, "Oh, it's a fake video," and so you can't win. Even here's the thing. I think whenever it happens to you, it's the real thing. Whenever it happens to somebody else, you can write it off or not, depending on what you're at. But yeah, I think it's, and we've talked about this before. Like with, if you had a video and some photographs and some eyewitness testimony, you could literally send somebody to prison for their entire lifetime. That is enough circumstantial evidence, or whatever they want to call that, to go, yeah, this guy's guilty. But when it comes to, UFOs, it's just people can, what also is fascinating. You ever heard the name Indrid Cold? This is the where that name came from. Indrid Cold.
You keep breaking up. You keep saying and then you stop.
It's
our
oh really? No, it's probably just the way the microphone's picking up. Indrid Cold is the name. Did you hear that?
I heard it, but I haven't heard.
Okay, so I watched the movie. There's a movie called The Mothman Prophecies with Richard Gere,
right,
and somebody else, some good. It's a good movie. It's scary. It's freaky. Yeah. It's a real thriller. It's one of my favorite thrillers. And it's called The Mothman Prophecies. Kind of a goofy name for a really interesting movie. But anyway, they use that name for this entity in Poland, and they use his name again. And this is where the name of the video is Woodrow Derenberger talks about his 1966 UFO sighting and encounter with a humanoid named Indrid Cold. So anyway, yeah, pretty amazing. I we go into some of it. He actually ends up talking to this alien, I guess. This human guy. He said the guy looked human. And the guy gets out of the UFO and says, "Hey, don't be afraid." And so this guy, Woodrow Derenberger, is sitting in his van with the windows rolled up, because it happened in November, I guess, late October, early November. So it was probably colder outside. And the guy gets out of the craft and looks at him and says, don't be afraid. I just want to ask you a couple of questions. You don't have to be afraid. And so he rolls down his window and he thought, wait a second, how'd I hear that guy if my windows are rolled up? He thought it was kind of odd. And then the guy said something else, and I think he realized the guy's lips weren't moving, but he was getting the message directly into his mind, which is, I mean, it's just part of the course for the crazy situation.
Yeah.
But anyway, the guy just asked him questions about the city around him, and I've heard this before, that these incidents these aliens will get off these craft and talk to people. They just ask them about what's going on. They don't answer any questions. They only ask questions. So if you ask them a question, they just say, well, what do you, like there's this other one with these two police officers. One of the beings says, how come you're both dressed the same? And the guy goes, well, we're security, we're police officers, kind of like security. But anyway, just fascinating. I find it just.
Yeah. Those are the nice
aliens that just won't tell the story. What's that?
Those are the nice aliens, because the stories I've heard, they're impregnating women and taking their babies. I guess it depends.
Well, we're all guilty of a little bit of that. Impregnating.
The ones that got away. Yeah.
We can just blame the aliens now. Hey, it was the aliens. Yeah. Well, I've heard. I haven't. There are people saying that. I haven't heard too much of that, but yeah, you're probably right. You're probably
quite a bit
there.
of that.
I know. I was listening. As you get into this, there's all kinds. There's this lady's communicating with Zoltan from the planet nowhere. I don't know, just all these, and she's saying they're on their way. Oh, let me show you this. This is, we were saying the other day how the world's in trouble, how it's going down the tubes. Well, I have confirmation somewhere. Oh, here it is. Is this it? Nope, that's not it. Here it is. I found this in a pile of old papers.
Okay.
Can you read that? Hold on. Let me see if I can get that.
Let me do it. Hold it up again.
Can you read that?
Space Alien Police Force.
Space Alien Police.
Space Alien Police
Force. That's right. Save the day. Okay. That's right. It goes on to say, Washington, American, British, and Russian scientists have intercepted a radio transmission from outer space that indicates a space alien police force is speeding towards Earth at 93,000 miles per second. Sorry. That's half the speed of light. In a do-or-die attempt to bring peace and harmony to the planet and civilization that hatred has torn apart. I gotta admit, they're onto something right there. Now, this is what I love about the whole thing. Guess what the scientist's name is? Dr. Oktar Zartan. I mean, he sounds like one of the aliens.
Yeah. Just look into his background a bit.
Zartan? I mean, I don't know, but that explains a lot. This is from the I think the World, Weekly World. Remember Weekly World News?
Vaguely. What's the date?
This is old, man. This is like this has got to be late 80s, early.
So they should be here by now.
Doesn't have a date on it, but it's got to be. Well, Chris, I guess this is where the average man, this is where scientists like myself get to step in, and the universe is a big place. 93,000 million miles a second. That's where you start breathing the swamp gas. Yeah, they don't have a date. Oh, December. Oh, this is from 2001. It wasn't that long ago. No wonder they're not here.
Yeah, it makes
from
sense
December
now.
18th, 2001. That's only 23 years. I mean, come on, they're probably,
They should be here soon.
probably, well, I hope so. That'd be nice. Someone kind of, an alien police force. You know how that would go over
Hopefully they
with
get
all
here
the
before they
police protests we've
defund the
been having.
police. I was gonna say, hopefully they get here before they defund the police.
Oh, whoa.
Huh?
Yeah. Sorry, Bob. No more money for you. Oh, man. That would be disappointing. They get all the way here only to find there's no money. Nope. They got no money for you. Got nothing. You're working on. You're working
We don't
free.
need police anymore.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, watch that link. The Woodrow Derenberger, which is Eyes on Cinema is the name of the channel, and I'll put a link to it down there.
Yeah.
Woodrow Derenberger. Yeah, so it's fascinating. So that this guy just asked him a few questions. Watch the video because I think
Right. Yeah.
if
No,
you're really interested in this, hearing somebody, hearing the person's there it's just a fascinating. What's that?
It's an interesting topic. I mean, I'm glad he wasn't impregnated. I mean,
well, as you know, Chris, as we both know, men can get pregnant.
Yes.
So I've heard.
I mean, back then, yeah. Now they.
So can. Now, all bets are off.
Yeah.
All bets are off. As far as the alien probing kind of thing, you want to be real careful with that because anyway. But yeah, Eyes on Cinema. That's a great one. So so the swamp gas, Eyes on Cinema. These are just all this stuff. There's so much information now, and there's some really good channels out there where they go into detail about these stories, and they're just. There's the one about the little kid that disappears. Where was it? Can't remember. Like, I don't know, somewhere on the East Coast. His family's out. This is all well documented. I mean, as far as the incident is documented, the results of, like the kid was found like 7 days later, but he was found like 50 or 60 miles from where he started. Wow. And he was in very good shape, and he wasn't hypothermic or hungry.
Right.
He was in good shape. And so his story was this man kept him in a cave. And oh man, it's just a weird story because it's well documented that he was gone. They did find him like many miles from where he started, like an unbelievable, he couldn't have traveled that far in the time he was gone. As like, I think he was between 7 and 9 years old. They said, he just, and if he was without food, without water at that time of year where, not that he might have frozen to death, but the temperatures did get cold at night, and that would have, caused difficulty, severe difficulty. But anyway, there's so many stories like that. I find that kind of stuff just absolutely amazing and interesting.
No, it's interesting. It wants to you want to look into it further. I mean, maybe he could have caught a ride with somebody, I guess.
Not where he was. I mean, not saying that there couldn't have been trails, but he wasn't on a road. He was miles from wherever he was, and I'll look into that one a little bit.
Yeah.
That's There's another one of your buddies, a special forces guy called Mr. Ballin, Ballen. And he tells all these, he'll go into like, murder mysteries where they're unproven or unsolved mystery murders and he'll go into, pretty fascinating. It's kind of interesting stories. And he's he's ex-special forces guy, like I said. But kind of interesting, kind of cool. And this guy, as far as I know, doesn't doesn't show up anywhere else in on the internet other than this one time where he.
Yeah.
Let me just see. Do a quick search. Let's do it on Google. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, come on. Sorry. Technology is after me and in front of me. There we go. Oh, wait a second. Maybe he did write a book.
Uh-oh.
Audiobooks written by Woodrow Derenberger. Yeah, look at this. Well, maybe this guy is crazy after all.
Whoops.
Maybe he is an opportunist.
That's what we do. We get to the bottom of things, Mike.
Oh, boy.
We go to the bottom of the swamp.
Maybe way too late. Visitors from Lanulos by Woodrow Derenberger.
My ass.
Oh. Well, now I'm gonna have for $37.69. Oh my gosh.
What?
Visitors from Lanulos. This guy ended up writing a book. Oh, that's hilarious. Here I thought he was some poor fool that was driving down. Oh, that's great. Now I'm gonna have to dig a little bit further into this. This is hilarious. Woodrow
so files are all about Mike.
Woodrow Wilson Derenberger. That's probably what it was.
Yes.
Yeah. So this
much like the X-Files.
Just like the X-Files, making it up as we go along. Oh man.
The X-Files was actually very entertaining. Shows.
Yeah, that was great. Hey, actually rewatchable, like I think they're on Netflix.
Yeah.
We watched the first one. It was fun to watch. It's it's a great show.
Yeah.
Fun show. And the good thing about that is going in there fake.
I was gonna say one of my favorite shows is when they have the alien creature that lives in the porta potties.
I didn't see that one. That makes a lot of sense, though.
It's a winner. it's actually, they did that.
That's a winner.
Kind of scary. Anyway.
Wow. Well, I wonder when this guy wrote this book. Visitors from Lanulos. That's interesting. I'm gonna check on it. Oh yeah. This happened November 2nd, 1966.
Whoa. That was 6 months after the swamp gas phenomena.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was March.
Yeah, I mean, now that I read this, it kind of takes away the veracity of somewhat. But who am I to say this is a story, not mine?
Michigan.
The other one in Michigan had a lot more credibility.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go. Was there an underground flying saucer manufacturing plant by Woody's home? Perhaps in Point Pleasant, home of the Mothman. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
The giant spider web.
That was just right next to the giant spider web. So this was initially published in 1971. This book became perhaps the rarest contactee book ever. Prior to reissue, there were only a half dozen copies, remaining in the world's library system. The rest trading for thousands of dollars each. Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting. Anyway, fascinating stuff. Yeah, I don't know, Chris. It just always brings up more questions than it answers.
Yeah.
Just when you thought you were getting close to the Woodrow Derenberger veracity of the. Then you find he wrote a book and it just kicked. But the fact there was only a half dozen out there, that's kind of interesting. I'll have to do. This is a problem. You end up looking at stuff more than you end up actually
reporting.
Hard to believe, talking. But it's all about. We're just digging in to give people something to do, right?
You can never get enough swamp gas.
Geez, I don't
I, I
know.
could,
I don't know.
I could.
Well, I've never breathed swamp gas personally, but I imagine it smelled like those bathrooms at Oklahoma D-Day. Remember those bathrooms where the sulfur?
Oh yeah, man. That's what swamp ass is, Mike. Okay, that's swamp ass.
Yeah,
A very
yeah.
popular
Well,
term in the
it's swamp
military.
near the swamp gas asses. Yeah, but anyway, that's all I got. That's
More
it.
than enough. That's more than enough.
That's more than enough. What more could we say?
And
Maybe we can.
We'll end it on the. It's a crazy world. I think we both agree. So we'll stick a fork in it.
How about this for a channel? Swamp gas in a crazy world. Files.
Yeah.
Maybe that's too long.
Crazy swamp.
All right. It's always fun. It's always fun to chit chat. And wait. I'll get it. Adios, amigo.
We'll see you later.